So, again, today we are going to begin with a new lesson of 10th standard, and we can say this is the basic for all your PUCs, your NEET competitive exams, and all. More than that, we need to learn what is going on in our body and how it is going to be. So, life process is nothing but the processes which are necessary or which are important for continuation or sustainability of our life. That kind of processes is known as what? Life processes. So, let's begin. How do we tell the difference between what is alive and what is not alive? See, if we see a dog running or a cow giving curd or a man shouting loudly on the street, we know that these are living beings. What we would still think that they were alive, but how did we come to know that? We see them breathing and we know that they are alive. What about plants? How do we know that they are alive? We say them green, some of us will say, but that about plants that have leaves of color other than green. They grow over time. So we know that they are alive. Some will say, in other words, we tend to think of some sort of moment, either growth related or not, as common evidence for being alive. But a plant that is not visibly growing is still alive, and some animals can't breathe without visible movement. So, using visible movement as the defining characteristic of life is not enough. See, we can compare this with the example a bus is moving. It's showing the movement, but is it alive? No, it can't be. But it is moving, so we can't define on the base of movement that the thing, the object is alive. Next, movements over very small scales will be invisible to the naked eye. Movements of molecules, for example, is this invisible molecular movement necessary for life? If we ask this question to professional biologists, they will say yes. In fact, viruses do not show any molecular movement in them until they infect some cell. And what is partly why there is a controversy about whether they are truly alive or not. Say, for example, if I said amoeba is an unicellular organism, but it shows its pseudopodia or the podial movement when the food is present or when the preys are there. At that time only it is going to move. But it doesn't mean that the amoeba is not alive. See, why are molecular movement needed for life? We have seen in earlier classes that living organisms are well organized structures. They can have tissues, tissues have cells, and cells have smaller component in them. See, when we go through the constituent or construction of an organism, firstly we are going to see the smaller components in them, means cell, like cell organelles. Okay, after that the cell is from that cell organelles, the cell is going to form. After that, from that same structural and functional cells, the tissues are going to form. Whereas when the tissues of same structure and same functions are gathered in a group, they are termed as organs. Ultimately, the organs are going to constitute the systems, particular individual systems. After that, the organism is going to form. See, because of the effects of the environment, this organized order nature of living structure is very likely to keep breaking down over time. If this order breaks down, the organism will no longer be alive. So, living creatures must keep preparing and maintaining their structures. Since all these structures are made up of molecules, they must move molecules around all the times. See, we know that cells is constituted with the organelles. See, if I take nucleus and an example, so within that nucleus, the genetic material is consist of some of the molecules to like phosphorus and some of the nitrogenous bases and some of the sugars. Okay, so these are all what the molecules. So molecules after that they are making what one of the organelles. After that, from that organelles the cell is going to form. So what are the maintenance? Alhamdulillah, I have a great day. What are the maintenance process in living organisms? Let us explore. See, now we are going to begin. What are these processes? So, viewers, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my videos. And if you have any doubt regarding the explanation or any of the content here, you can share a comment to me. Okay, so let's continue. What are the life processes? The maintenance functions of living organisms must go on even when they are not doing anything particularly, even when we are just sitting in. See, if we are telling this maintenance of functions in living organism, that then at every time when we are alive, they need to perform their individual functions. See, if I'm sleeping means I need to take breath. I need to inhale as well as I need to exhale. Along with that, my digestion process also need to be continued. Whatever thing I have ate at the dinner, it need to be digested until I wake up. After that, even whatever the water content, liquid content I have consumed, from that the toxin substance should be removed out, and it is mainly done by the kidneys. See, all the functions, it may be a respiration, it may be a excretion, it may be a digestion, all these processes are going on even when I'm sleeping. Okay, see, even if we are just asleep, this maintenance job has to go on. This the processes which together perform this maintenance job are life processes. See, whatever I said, respiration, excretion, digestion, circulation, nervous system, all these things are going on even when I asleep. Since these maintenance processes are needed to prevent damage and breakdown, energy is needed for them. This energy comes from outside the body of individual organism. See, when we used to have the food, that is going to convert into a usable form of energy for in every individual. It may be a microorganism, it may be a invertebrates or it may be a vertebrates, all of them converting their food into a usable form of energy. See, so there must be a process to transfer a source of energy from outside the body of the organism. See, it is possible. Why means then only we are getting the energy. See, which we call food. To the inside, a process we commonly called as nutrition. If the body size of organism is to grow, additional raw material will also be needed from outside. Since life on earth depend on carbon based molecules, most of these food source are also carbon based. Depending on the complexity of this carbon source, different organisms can then use different kinds of nutritional processes. See, what they're telling means, firstly, the thing whatever we are consuming, it may be a microorganism, it may be a invertebrate, it may be a vertebrates, all those are getting the energy from outside the body, means in the form of food they are getting the energy. Okay, that process is only known as what? Nutrition, which we are getting from outside the body. But here all this nutrition is mainly depend on the carbon. See, the carbon means involvement of carbon means here we are discussing about nothing but the organic things, organic substance which is present in nature. See, complexity of carbon is depend, or we can say it vary from species to species. Next, the outside source of energy could be quite varied since the environment is not under the control of the individual organism. These sources of energy therefore need to be broken down or built up in the form in the body and must be finally converted to a uniform source of energy that can be used for the various molecular movements needed for maintaining living structures as well as the kind of molecules the body needs to grow. See, what they are trying to tell means we have different type of nutrition. We can say some of us have are herbivorous, some of us are carnivorous, some of us are omnivorous. So mainly herbivorous means the organism which are completely depend on plants. That kind of organism is known as what? Herbivorous. Whereas carnivorous means the flesh eating organisms, or they may be a prey or they may be a parasite, but they are depend on other organism for their food. Whereas omnivorous means what? Omnivorous are consuming both the things, both the type of foods. We can say flesh as well as green leafy vegetables. See, for this, if we are telling this means we are getting different type of energy. We are getting energy from different sources. Okay. Now we need see, if we went for the fodder which is consumed by the cattles, are we going to digest it? No. Why it is not means the substance present in that fodder is nothing but the cellulose, which is hard to digest by ourselves. Whereas they have different compartments to digest all those things. That's why we are unable to get energy from that. Okay. And whenever we are having it, whenever we are having food means it is one of the source of energy and necessary for body growth. For this, a series of chemical reactions in the body are necessary. Oxidizing, reducing reaction are some of the most common chemical means to break down molecules. For this, many organisms use oxygen sourced from outside the body. The process of acquiring oxygen from outside the body and to use it in the process of breakdown of food source for cellular need is what we called it as respiration. See, respiration is nothing but the requirement of oxygen, we can say demand of oxygen by our body. See, this is happening for the sake of some of the chemical reactions. We are terming it in our body as metabolism. See, it may be in the form of building up or it may be in the form of breakdown. Okay, but when we are discussing about the respiration, it should be breakdown. Here, one more chemical reaction that is nothing but oxidizing reducing reaction is going to takes place. Commonly, it is known as redox reaction is going to takes place in the case of a single celled organism. No specific organ for taking in food, exchange of gases, or removal of waste may be needed because the entire surface of the organism is in contact with the environment. See, if we discuss about the unicellular organism or single celled organism, they don't have particular systems, they don't have specific organs such as lungs, kidney, liver, stomach, okay, all those things. But they having all these physiological functions like breathing, exchange of gases, as well as excretion, as well as digestion. All these things are directly done by their skin surface, or we can say they are directly connected with the environment. That's why all these processes are happening within single cell. But what happens when the body size of organism increases and the body design becomes more complex? In multicellular organism, all the cells may not be in direct contact with the surrounding environment. Thus, simple diffusion will not meet the requirements of the all cells. Say, if we compare ourselves with the amoeba, we have more complex body, right? We have more complex body, then we have a specialized cells, tissues, organs, systems, all such. But here in amoeba, what is going to happen? The exchange of gases is done by general body surface, as well as excretion, whatever the toxic substance are generated in the body, that is also removed by the general surface, body surface. Next, the things, all those things which they have consumed, they have eaten up, that too require no require of such special tissues, systems, and all. But if we compare ourselves, our body has a complex organs, or we can say we have complex body structure. That's why we require specialized tissues, organs. Along with that organs, they have particular systems. Okay, if we take example of heart, then it need to circulate throughout the body oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Okay, so for that it requires specialized tissues and specialized cells. See, in multicellular organisms, all the cells may not be in direct contact with surrounding environment. Thus, simple diffusion will not meet the requirement of all the cells. Means if we are going through diffusion, only diffusion means all the requirement, the things which is required by our body is not going to happen. Next, we have seen previously how in multicellular organisms various body parts have specialized in the functions they perform. We are familiar with the ideas of the specialized tissues, and with their organization in the body of the organism. It is therefore not surprising that the uptake of food and the oxygen will also be the function of specialized tissues. However, this poses a problem since the food and oxygen are now taken up at one place in the body of organism while all parts of the body need them. This situation creates a need for transportation system for carrying food and oxygen from one place to another in the body. See, when we are discussing about the intake of oxygen as well as the removal of carbon dioxide, along with this intake of food and removal of that food, unwanted food. See, all these things we required a specialized system or specialized organs. When chemical reaction use the carbon source and the oxygen for energy generation, they create byproducts that are not only useless for the cells of the body but could even be harmful. These waste by products are therefore needed to be removed from the body and discarded outside by a process called excretion. See, here what is going to happen, whatever the things we have consuming, if we are inhaling the oxygen, after that some of the due to some chemical reaction we are going to form the carbon dioxide. Okay, and it is what not only useless to our body as well as it is harmful to our body if it is remaining for long period of time. The similar way, if we are having food, then after some certain chemical reactions, the useless byproducts are going to form, and that are harmful for our body, and it need to expel out or it need to be discarded properly outside the body. Only that process only we are terming or we are knowing as excretion. See, again, if the basic rules for body design in multicellular organisms are followed, a specialized tissues for excretion will be developed, which means that transportation system will need to transport waste away from the cells to excretory tissue. See, if we are telling this means no doubt now we have respiration, digestive, for carrying of that waste material to our excretory system we require some of the transportation system too, and that transportation system only is known as what, circulatory system. Here the connective tissue, or we can say red fluid present in our body, is blood. It is going to work, okay, for this thing. It is going to bring oxygenated blood to all the body parts and deoxygenated blood from all the body parts, and again it is going to lead to our dustbin of our body, we can say filtration plant of our body, to the kidneys. After that they are going to expel out whatever the things is not required, and whatever the useful things are there, they are going to reabsorb by some of the specialized tissues. Okay, viewers, I hope you are enjoying my streamings. Like, share, and subscribe to my shorts, videos, and live streaming too. If you don't understanding any of the my lecture means, just make sure to comment it in the comment box. Whenever I'm free, I'm going to solve your doubts and let you know the things. Okay, Allah Hafiz, दुआ में याद रखना. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Allah Hafiz.